Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My friends, the inhuman approach of non-Muslims can be measured from the killing of millions of Muslims in Fallujah ruthlessly and now diluting it by game of entertainment. They're actually trying not to feel the pain of such brutality. 91% of the people have liquor. Tamit further stated that the goal of the 6 days in Fallujah is to create the most realistic military shooter possible.
Romano is talking about Fallujah as the basis for a video game. Yassine, respond off the back of this video comment.
When we talk about the war in Fallujah, we're talking about something that is very real and horrific. The dehumanization of Muslims that confines us to an extremist narrative in mainstream media is nothing new, and consequently, people have become immune and desensitized to killing, especially the killing of Muslims. Now, can video games show the true cost of human war? They absolutely can, because games, by their very nature, allow people to inhabit another person's subjectivity and empathize with their perspective. However, in the case of 6 Days in Fallujah, it's engendering sympathy with an event that resulted in the murder of innocent Iraqi civilians and was downright abhorrent. So we talk about the human cost of war, and yet we repeatedly find that it's trivialized and glorified through a narrow lens that whitewashes the atrocities that were committed.
Dr. Roman Ramzan has considered it a spread of negativity about Muslims.
Stop Highwire Games and Victoria from normalizing the mass murder of Iraqis. Yassine, go ahead.
Yeah, let us not lie to ourselves and spin this into just being a video game. This stems from the lack of accountability for America's role in the war in Iraq, in an unjust war that was built on a lie, first of all, where over 1 million people died. That's one. Secondly, they released a trailer of this game on the week of the 18th anniversary of that invasion, and that's insult to injury. That's not a mistake. Let's not trick ourselves and think that's coincidence. There's no such thing as coincidence. So I'm sorry. They want to paint it however they want to paint it, and they want to spin it in the media, just as they've been trained, and just as Rebecca mentioned, you know, the lead dev and the head of Victoria Studios, who's Peter Tamte, was involved in the making of game design for soldiers to train for war. So don't tell me that the template wasn't there for him to create this game. It's all just, you know, they didn't even want to come on this show. So I'm going to call them what they are. They were cowards.
But we do have, they're not here on the show to debate with you, but they did send a statement. Rami,
that's great.
You can debate with this statement, all right. So I've got a little bit of a quote here. We're going to throw this up. And this is what Victoria is saying. While fewer than 15% of young people in Western nations are familiar with the battles for Fallujah, more than 150 million people played a military shooter last year. We believe video games are a powerful way to bring knowledge about important topics to many more people. That's what Victoria is saying. That's what they sent to us, to the stream. Rami, you say what?
Yeah. I'm a game developer, right? Like, I believe in the power of video games, and I believe in the power of video games to communicate very difficult topics. War has been tackled by a Polish game studio in this War of Mine, an incredible game about being a civilian in a war zone. German developers have made games like Spec Ops: The Line about the trauma of being an aggressor in a war. This is not that. What they're doing is they're not bringing knowledge. What they're doing is they're removing knowledge. It's historical revisionism. The fact that they say that this is a war against Al-Qaeda, while Al-Qaeda was just starting to appear in the city as a result, largely, of U.S. actions in the region, but that's left out. That's revisionism, leaving out war crimes because they couldn't find. They say they've interviewed these 26 Iraqis to get their perspective right, but they also say 26. That between these 26 Iraqis, they didn't find anybody who could tell them about war crimes, and that's why they're not in the game. How did you filter these Iraqis then? Because every Iraqi that I talked to that's from Fallujah can tell me about the things that happened, can tell me about the crimes that happened, that can tell me about the things, the awful things that happened in that city. And somehow this game randomly found 26 Iraqis that just know nothing about that? Haven't heard anything, right?
Let's also please.
It seems like